masterminds, and I guess you know this, our sponsor is Sandals Resort, so that's where we take all of our clients for the masterminds in the Bahamas. So it's not a bad gig.
Yeah, that's a top tier
Not
resort,
a,
man.
yeah, yeah, it is, yeah.
What goes down on a jet mastermind?
Well, what we do is we show other coaches how to create their own masterminds and be able to do it. Many times, a lot of people think, you know, how do you do a jet? It's a lot of money. There's so many ways to massage this where you can use your client's money to put all this together. And then we also show people how to really take their business to another level. Most people don't, you know, travel in a private jet or get to do it regularly. And when you experience something like that, you realize that, wait a minute, there's another way to live. And it gets you to figure out what's the next chess piece that I need to move in the business to make this happen. And a lot of times it's not extra work. It's just doing something a little smarter, you know,
Right.
just one more little tiny piece to make the difference. And that's what we give the people the exposure to. And it's a full day. You know, we do everything from the police escort, the police shuts down the traffic for them. We just want them to see an incredible experience and they remember it for a lifetime. And more importantly, they take the content that they learn from it and they use that and they implement it and then they get the results. So it's cool.
Once you go private, it's hard to go back.
Man, it really is. We have a saying with regards to a necessity. How's it go again? When I remember it, I'll throw it at you. But I know a luxury sampled once becomes a necessity. So once you taste it, you can't go back. It's really difficult.
Absolutely. Same with cars too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you're in Miami right now?
No, we're in Central Florida, between Tampa and Orlando, Sean.
Oh, nice. And these masterminds are all over?
Well, typically we do the masterminds at Sandals Resorts in the Bahamas. So what we'll do is most people will come and meet in Central Florida, come meet me there, and then we leave early in the morning, go out and come back late that night.
Masterminds are also another game changer, man.
No, they are, because what it does is it gets you, you know, and you know this better than anybody, your proximity is your power, your network is your net worth. And when you hang around people that are regularly talking about, yeah, we did this and it made us $500,000, or we did this and it made us 20 grand. And when you're not around that, it seems to be so foreign to you. But when you're around it consistently, you recognize that, wait a minute, if I'm not doing it, there's ways to do this. And the mastermind gets you, we limit it to about 8 people, so it's very intimate. You know, great big seminars have their strengths as well, but there's also, I remember when I was younger, I used to think, well, you know, I would love the opportunity to hang with this person, or like hang with a Sean. How do I get to hang with you and pick your brain? And that's where this concept came up with. So it gives people the opportunity to spend an intimate time with somebody like myself, and then, you know, basically I can answer whatever questions they have for their business. So I do a lot of, as you know, the TV shows, and so we'll talk about that. But I try to give them as much content that they can use and do something with right away, that they can turn some type of a profit or make a big shift in their company. And I was very blessed also, when I was younger, Sean, I was mentored by 2 millionaires and later a billionaire. And I learned so much from incredibly successful people, even though I personally have no desire to be a billionaire. We can talk about that later, maybe, I don't know. But I do want to learn a lot from them, where I can either implement it for myself or share it with other people.
Yeah, mentorship is crucial. Talk to me how you got that first one, because people struggle finding that first one.
You know, it was actually quite interesting that you asked that. When I was 16, I had started my second business at 15. So when I was 16, I was able to drive. And then I saw this really cool office plaza, and I wanted to start my own wholesale jewelry manufacturing and repairing, and that's what I used to do. I did, you know, I repaired Gordon's Jewelers and Zales and J.C. Penney's and all that stuff as a young kid. And I saw this office building, and I thought, I can't afford that, but you know what, I'm going to try. And I knocked on the guy's door, the landlord who owned it, millionaire, and he said, you know, let's see, let me look at this with you. And I didn't have a lot of money at that time, and he offered me a spot for rent. We became very good friends, and he became my millionaire mentor. And there's things in my brain to this very day. This was when I was a teenager. There's things in my brain to this very day that I use to control and do and change in my business. You know, one of them is the smart person believes half of what they hear. The intelligent person knows which half to believe. You don't believe everything you hear. So I'm one that's always questioning things, you know, because too many times people are very robotic. You know, I see a lot of people, they'll take a mentor, and if you're not careful, what happens is if you don't use a lot of common sense, you will place a higher status on somebody in your mind, higher than they should be, and because of that, you will listen to everything they say, and that's called being programmed.
Right.
And when you are able to determine, wait a minute, what that person's saying makes sense. Like I'll have my billionaire mentor when he was alive, he would give me advice. And some of it I would take and some of it I wouldn't. You got to have enough common sense because everybody's values and beliefs are different. You know, people say, you'll see somebody that makes more money than you do. So the tendency is to go, what? Listen to them, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's like going to the gym. You see the guy who's really, really big. The first thing we want to do if we want to build muscle is go to who? Go to the really, really big guy. So he says, well, you lift the weight this way and then you do it this way. But he didn't tell you he's also working out 7 days a week. He doesn't have a relationship anymore because his wife can't handle him anymore because he's on steroids, and that's how he got so big so quick. So all these different things, you know, that you don't take into consideration. And so when it comes to finding the right mentor, it's important to figure out, okay, number one, have enough common sense that making sure that when you take the advice from that person, that their values and beliefs match with yours. Those that don't, throw them out. Those that do, keep them.
Right. I love that because people just have one mentor, but I have many different verticals. So I have a health one, I have a spiritual one, I have a
Good for
business
you.